Mere hours after being released from his AEW contract, former All Elite Wrestling star Absolute Ricky Starks makes an appearance on WWE NXT last night. But we have more details on his possible name with WWE as well as details on his AEW exit. You've got the ratings for Saturday's edition of AEW Collision on TNT as well as the global viewership number for the February 3rd episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Another cryptic teaser airs on NXT last night ahead of NXT Vengeance Day this weekend. The NXT Women's Championship match this weekend at Vengeance Day has been changed to a fatal four-way match after Cora Jade defeated Bayley last night. Tony D'Angelo retains the NXT North American Championship but gets betrayed in the process. Lexis King retains the NXT Heritage Cup Championship against a TNA star. An NXT Tag Team Championship match has been confirmed for Vengeance Day. Javon Evans will be in action against Ethan Page this weekend. A strap match has also been confirmed for the upcoming PLE. Keith Lee expands and clarifies his recent story about an AEW backstage appearance, and Elida reportedly has not signed with Ring of Honor / AEW. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with the major story coming out of last night's episode of WWE NXT, and that is the NXT debut of former AEW World Tag Team Champion Absolute Ricky Starks. Now, the day after receiving his release from AEW, Ricky Starks appeared on WWE NXT and cut a promo amongst the fans in the WWE Performance Center. As the ring crew was still setting up the cage for the main event, Starks appeared, microphone in hand. He appeared without music, with only the crowd's cheers and a holy crap from Vic Joseph on commentary to alert fans at home what was happening. Fans chanted his name as a spotlight appeared on the former AEW star. Quote, "If NXT is the future of professional wrestling, well, guess what? You need an absolute superstar of the future," Stark said. "If this is the hottest brand, well, you need the hottest free agent right now, baby. Everyone's been asking when the Revolution will be televised again. Well, I'm right here, aren't I?" Now, Starks was removed from the AEW roster page on Monday, and it was reported he was, quote, "free and clear to go wherever he wanted to perform with no non-compete clause to adhere to." Multiple reports claim that his contract with Tony Khan's company was set to run out this spring after AEW picked up the option year on his contract but did not utilize him on television. NXT, of course, will host its Vengeance Day premium live event on Saturday, but Starks gave no indication in his promo as to whether he'll be making an appearance or not. Now, as far as the reaction to Ricky Starks' debut in NXT, it was overwhelming on social media. Starks himself commented on social media, saying on X, quote, "Right time, right guy." Now, of course, one person closely associated with Ricky Starks during his AEW tenure is now current WWE superstar and regular person backstage at NXT, CM Punk, who also had something to say, certainly when it came to Starks and making his appearance last night on the show. He posted, as he always does, to his Instagram stories, the clip of Starks making his debut on NXT as well as a smiley face emoji. Another former AEW star reacted to Starks' appearance last night on WWE's developmental brand, that being former AEW TBS champion Jade Cargill, who said, quote, "My best friend, so proud," and Starks quote tweeted that response by saying, "We did it." Now, as far as more details as to how this came together, what it means moving forward, this comes courtesy of Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select. And Ricky Starks has indeed debuted in NXT. At least that's who we think he is. And I'll explain what we mean by this, because Starks debuted on the February 11th NXT, notably not actually saying his name. The crowd knew, however, and chanted it repeatedly. Now, Fightful have been told this was the expected reaction and that not mentioning by name wasn't an accident. However, Fightful have not been told specifically why that is. Now, Fightful say they had heard word of AEW releases Friday, but they didn't end up becoming official until this week. Fightful have been told that these had long been considered, with Starks being among the names that were in the plans for the release. As one would expect, the deal with Ricky Starks came together very quickly once he became available. As of December, Fightful had been told that nobody from WWE had communicated interest to Starks, but those that Fightful spoke to there knew he'd be signed if indeed he became available, which indeed he did. As for why Stark showed up on NXT, Fightful say they inquired with NXT and main roster sources. Those that Fightful spoke to on the main roster said they believe the majority of creative heading into WrestleMania is planned, and NXT would be much more fluid working him into the fold. Now, word of Starks being on the show circulated around the WWE Performance Center by about 15 to 30 minutes before the show went on the air. As I mentioned, if we get any more details on Starks' plans moving forward, the nature of his AEW exit, as well as his possible name in WWE, we'll let you know in a future video. Now, speaking of AEW, we have the ratings for Saturday's edition of Collision, a show that Starks was front and center on when it debuted back in 2023. For the past month, AEW's Saturday show has gone up against the stiffest of competition, from the NFL playoffs to WWE Saturday night's main event to the Royal Rumble last weekend, which affected Collision so much the show drew the lowest numbers in its history for a non-preempted show. But this week, no major competition existed, opening the door for Collision to, if nothing else, gain a little bit of momentum. It did just that. WrestleNomics is reporting that Saturday's Collision drew 387,000 total viewers and a 0.10 in the coveted 18 to 49 demographic. This resulted in some of the biggest gains in Collision history, with total viewership rising 96% from last week's 197,000, while the 18 to 49 was up 150% from a 0.04. The gains weren't quite the same against the 4-week average, but were still strong, with total viewership up 37% from 282,000, while the 18 to 49 was up 25% from a 0.08. Collision finished 5th on the night in cable, trailing only college basketball, the prelims for UFC 312, and the Hallmark TV film The Wish Swap. It may also be the start of something for AEW. Their upcoming Grand Slam Australia event will air this weekend outside of its normal time slot. It will be bolstered by a strong lead-in from NBA All-Star Weekend, which could result in Grand Slam becoming one of the most highly viewed AEW shows of the year. Considered a strong show to boot, Collision featured Kyle Fletcher defeating Mark Briscoe in the main event, Harley Cameron goading Mercedes Moné into giving her a TBS title shot, and timeless Toni Storm's continued mind games with Mariah May. It also featured Bandido's first match in over 600 days, with him defeating Brian Keith, and the return of Hologram, who helped fight off Commander from the members of LFI in Dralistico, Roosh, and the Beast Mortos. Now, speaking of viewership information, we've got some more when it comes to the February 3rd episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Of course, a little bit different to how other shows are figured out. Now, the Monday, February 3rd episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix drew 3.1 million global views. Now, this is according to WrestleNomics via data from Netflix. As always, global views are defined as hours watched divided by program duration for the entire week, Monday through Sunday. Raw ranked number 7 globally for the week and 3rd in the United States. Now, this is up from the January 27th episode, which had 2.9 million global views. It was viewed 9th globally, 5th in the United States, whereas this week was 3.1. It was up to 7th globally from the number 9 spot and up to 3rd in the United States from the number 5 spot. Now, last night on NXT, we got yet another teaser heading into this weekend's NXT Vengeance Day Premium Live event. For the 3rd straight week, WWE NXT closed with the flashing of a test screen and a mystery teaser. Masks were revealed on February 11th, with 4 people once again being shown. The test screen once again read NXT Vengeance Day. The teaser aired during a video package for NXT Vengeance Day. As of right now, there has been speculation on what this group and who this group will consist of, but I guess we'll find out in just a few days. Speaking of Vengeance Day, a big change to a major championship match at the Premium Live event. Over the last 2 weeks, Cora Jade has pleaded her case to be added to the NXT Women's Championship picture. Following a major victory over the role model Bayley, she now finds herself in that very space. Last night's episode of NXT kicked off with a singles match between Jade and Bayley. As Bayley appeared to be setting up for her signature elbow, Roxanne Perez inserted herself into the ringside area as well, specifically dressed as the old hugger version of Bayley back from the NXT days. Now, despite the brief distraction, Bayley still managed to hit her elbow on Jade for a near fall. That momentum didn't last too long, however, as Perez continued to mock her former persona, causing Bayley to lose focus and allow Jade to lay her out with a pair of DDTs for the victory. Afterwards, the Raw star pushed Perez into Jade before following up with a Bayley to belly to Perez, who was also, of course, known as the Prodigy. NXT General Manager Ava also confirmed that Jade will join Bayley, Perez, and Julia in the NXT Women's Championship match set for Vengeance Day. Originally, this match was announced as a triple threat, with Julia defending the respective championship. With Jade's addition, it has now been elevated to a fatal four-way. Now, speaking of title matches, Tony D'Angelo is still the NXT North American champion, but there was a fracture in the family. D'Angelo defeated Ridge Holland in the main event of Tuesday's NXT inside of a steel cage, thanks to the help of a crowbar introduced to the match by Izzy Dame. While Dame was able to help D'Angelo win the title, following the steel cage match, Dame struck D'Angelo with the North American Championship, leaving D'Angelo vulnerable to an attack from Shawn Spears, Nico Vance, and Brooks Jensen, with Dame seemingly joining the trio's villainous group and ending her temporary alliance with the family. D'Angelo has been the NXT North American champion since October, when he defeated Obafemi for the title in St. Louis. He's also a former NXT Heritage Cup holder, as well as a former NXT Tag Team champion, alongside family member Channing Stack Lorenzo. Speaking of the Heritage Cup, Lexis King still holds on to the championship. NXT Heritage Cup champion Lexis King recently announced the simplification of the rules for the match, stripping it of its British rounds format and turning it into a traditional one-fall match. The rule change has worked wonders for the King, who defended the cup under lessened strictures on Tuesday. King defeated TNA star and former WWE superstar JDC, known to WWE fans as Fandango. JDC dominated for much of the opening, but King was able to withstand much of JDC's offense to hit his trademark coronation for the victory. King initially won the cup on December 17th, but the controversial nature of his victory, which saw former cup holder Charlie Dempsey disqualified following a shocking betrayal by his father William Regal, King and Dempsey spent much of the match and the following weeks wrestling for the cup before King was able to win the cup in a sudden death rules match against Dempsey on January 7th, cementing his reign. Following another successful defense of the cup against Dempsey on January 21st, King announced the new rules which were competed under last night. Going back to Vengeance Day this weekend, an NXT Tag Team Championship match has been confirmed. Another match has been added to NXT Vengeance Day, this time highlighting the NXT Tag Team division. Following the announcement of Ethan Page versus Javon Evans, which we'll get to later on, NXT Tag Team Champions Axiom and Nathan Fraser confirmed they will wrestle at the event as well, specifically to defend their titles against Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. On last night's episode of NXT, Briggs and Inamura defeated Hank Walker and Tank Ledger, as well as No Quarter Catch Crew's Miles Bournes and Tavern Heights in a triple threat tag team bout. This victory came after Briggs dropped Walker with a clothesline, which Inamura followed with a frog splash off the top rope. According to Axiom, Briggs remains one of the most underrated talents on the NXT brand. Meanwhile, he believes Inamura has lived up to the hype that preceded him from his work in Japan. It wasn't until their tag team victory on Tuesday night, however, that Axiom and Fraser deemed them deserving of a shot at the NXT Tag Team Championships. As such, they announced circled Briggs and Inamura as their next official challengers. Now, Javon Evans, we just spoke about it there, is cleared and will be competing this weekend at NXT Vengeance Day. Javon Evans is officially cleared to compete after suffering a storyline jaw injury, and he's ready to get his hands on former NXT champion Ethan Page. After having his jaw wired shut for weeks following beatdowns from Page, Evans signed an agreement backstage on Tuesday that NXT won't be liable if anything happens to him when the pair go face-to-face at Vengeance Day on Saturday. NXT General Manager Ava told Evans to really think on it, as the doctor said in a video package that Evans could suffer more serious damage and be on the shelf for longer if he's hit in the jaw again, but Evans signed it quickly, making the match official for the premium live event. The feud between Evans and Page started back in December when the latter cut a promo about losing his smile following a string of losses, and Evans attempted to cheer him up in the ring. Page said he realized he shouldn't be worried about losing his smile, but rather taking Evans, and he wrapped a chair around Evans' neck and stomped in it, leaving the younger star bleeding in the ring. Evans returned in January after Page injured Dante Chen, and Page left him lying on the mat once again. Evans looks to get his revenge on Saturday at the event in Washington, D.C. In addition to that, a strap match has been confirmed for this weekend at Vengeance Day 2. Eddie Thorpe issued a challenge to Trick Williams for NXT Vengeance Day to face him in a strap match. Thorpe has whipped Trick with a strap in recent weeks. In the challenge, Thorpe said that Trick has been handed opportunity after opportunity while he's been overlooked by the likes of Ava, Shawn Michaels, and the fans. Now, this match has been confirmed for the weekend. A bit of an update here when it comes to Keith Lee, his AEW status. After being out of action for over a year, former AEW World Tag Team Champion Keith Lee has clarified his recent AEW backstage status. Last competing on the December 23rd, 2023 taping of AEW Collision, fans have long speculated what the status of Keith Lee and the company is, with little new information being available in recent months. After missing the entirety of 2024, Fightful Select reported that the former WWE superstar had not been cleared for an in-ring return after a medical issue had kept him sidelined. As previously reported, Lee was spotted backstage for the February 5th edition of AEW Dynamite from Athens, Georgia. However, Keith Lee took to social media to respond to this report and clarified his recent AEW backstage appearance. He wrote, quote, "For the record, this isn't true. I was at Collision in Houston, but I was at the Dynamite in Austin briefly. I do live in Texas after all. Good day." Now, it remains to be seen when Lee can make his return to AEW television at the time of this recording. And finally, once again, clearing up a bit of a confusion here when it comes to status within certain companies, AEW currently is not walking with Elias. According to Sean Rossap of Fightful Select, it was recently reported elsewhere that the former Elias, now known as Elijah, was signed by AEW/Ring of Honor. The rumors stem from him appearing in this video. You can see it on the screen right there, with Ring of Honor team The Righteous. However, Fightful have been told that Elijah is actually not signed by the company. Elijah appeared on the Jericho Cruise, taking on AEW talent Tommy Billington, but isn't under contract to AEW or Ring of Honor. During his 2 years away from WWE, he's wrestled in Australia, the UK, and the indie scene in the United States. However, of late, Fightful have actually heard that TNA had expressed interest in using him. As of right now, he's not put pen to paper on any deal. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.